Hello, my Astro family. This is Lada from astrolada.com, and I'm here with your weekly horoscope from the 15th or 16th of September till the 22nd of September 2020. And I have great news for you. The winds of change are starting to blow, and good winds of change. Don't worry. These are good ones because we're going to have Saturn turning direct, and that will give relief to so many people, to everyone has Saturn's been retrograde the last 4 or 5 months, and it means like that's where the back-breaking work has been. That's where the biggest blockages and dissatisfactions have been in certain area of your life. And when it starts moving direct, it's like this blockage is finally starting to thaw, and the negativity, the burdens, they're starting to dissipate. You're gonna feel it gradually, maybe not immediately, this week, but gradually from this week onwards, the events in certain areas of your life will start improving. And also we have two planets moving into air signs finally. I can't describe to you how grateful I am. Venus and Mercury are moving to air signs. There have been no planets in air signs since June. And I mean, air is objectivity, ability to agree with others, ability to take a breath, to take a step back and observe yourself, ability to collaborate with others, and ability to be basically, how do I say, to hear others, and to have breath. To have a breath of fresh air, not to feel stuffy in a room, with what all the planets have been in Earth signs for so long, for the last 1 month in Virgo, in Capricorn, and it starts feeling stuffy and suffocating, especially for people that have air or fire in their horoscopes. And of course, it's been very productive with the Sun and Mars. They still will stay in Virgo, which is still very good. And by the way, the two most important planets of action, Sun and Mars, are in Earth sign, and especially in Virgo. Virgo is about career, about work, about getting done with your responsibilities, about being accountable, about being paying attention to details and getting things fixed. And so it's very good for basically people to get their heads straight on, and it's been for a few weeks already, in regards to work, to be diligent, to attend to matters of responsibility and errands. And talking about Virgo, which is all about work and career, Victor is doing on the 22nd of September his webinar on career and money. And there are two options. You can get it just like that. It's going to be 5-6 hours, where he's going to speak how he defines career in the horoscope. And believe me, he's a person. If you've had horoscope with him, he takes your chart and he tells you what your career is and what your profession is. He blows me away with that. So he's the best teacher to learn about career, and he's going to use a lot of ancient and modern techniques. Or you can also choose an option for this webinar, that you get the webinar plus 15 minutes reading from him, with him, about your career, which is another $30 only. And the price is 30% off till the 22nd. So come and join us there. And by the way, Ksenia, beautiful Ksenia, is doing a webinar, and it's recorded already, Vedic techniques for Western astrologers. This is fascinating. Many people ask me, such different methods than Western astrology always. Can you teach them? Well, Ksenia has learned with my teacher, so we have the same methods, and she will teach that with tropical zodiac, Western astrologers, Vedic techniques. Awesome. And it's again 30% off till the 1st of October. So let's look quickly. I want to focus this week on those planets. As I said, still the two powerhouses of action, Sun and Mars. They're masculine, they're driven, they go, go, go. They both continue to be in Virgo. So this will energize, so to speak, the earth signs, Virgo, Capricorns, and Tauruses, and whatever area of your horoscope Virgo is. And we need to continue to fight for and to use our willpower to fix things, Virgo, to arrange things practically, to put order, to organize our life, to put effort into taking care of our health. Virgo is also, there's the practical side, to discriminate more. It continues as a theme, but Venus and Mercury, from the start of this week, basically, are moving into the sign of Libra. I can start breathing again. And you're going to see immediately from Monday onwards, more collaboration between people becoming more agreeable, people willing to listen to each other more. You know, while there was no planets in air, they were here, basically, most planets in Virgo. It was just, I was even sharing on my Facebook. I'm like, ideas don't come to me. My mind feels blank because air is ideas. Air is thoughts. My thought was slower. My mind was slower. It still is a bit. It's not, air does not create new crazy original ideas, but it allows us to express them more easily. It allows us to express them in a way that others understand them as well. And I also noticed while there were no planets in air for the last 2 months or something, people are more willing to criticize each other because people, air is the ability to see from another points of view, because the air signs, Libra, Aquarius, Gemini, you know, these are the signs that have humans as a symbol. You know, Gemini is two twins, Libra is the woman that's holding the scales, and Aquarius is a man, you know, with the whatever, pouring out knowledge. And these human signs, when they're not activated, humans don't get along as easily. Humans don't are not as humane. Human signs are humane. If you notice someone with a lot of air signs, they're more humane, they're more kind of or you know, they're just generally more, even physically they would look a little bit more refined as well. But now that two planets are entering into beautiful planets, Venus, harmony and balance, collaboration, understanding. Mercury, good communications. So you're going to notice that people are more willing to see the perspective of others, not to judge and criticize each other, not to take things personally. When there is no planets in air, my God, people take things so personally. They don't listen as well. Air is the ability to listen. So I was having so many people, they haven't even watched the video, or they don't even read the post, and they make a comment that shows that they're offended on something. I'm like, did you really listen? Did you really hear? And I'm sure I did the same to people as well. I'm not blaming others. But it was so easy to take offense when there is no air, because you're not attuned to the point of view of others. You don't listen well enough. You don't hear what others say, and you take things personally. You don't have this objectivity of air to kind of, you know, see the perspective of another person. So I'm so glad some air is coming, honestly, and with those two beautiful planets. So what can you expect? And it's in the sign of Libra, relationships, one-to-one exchange. You start noticing slowly, maybe fast, improvement of interpersonal relationships, improvement with clients that become more tolerant, that become more kind, agreeable, with friends, with partners, with lovers, any other people that you're having one-to-one exchange. You know, people won't be so rushed to write emails that attack you or anything like that, or that blame you. There will be this willingness to collaborate. Venus becomes the queen. Venus is the queen of Libra. Venus is in its own sign, so the queen enters the kingdom. So now, and it's going to become visible on the 26th, which is next week. We're going to talk about that in the next week videos, and it's going to bring amazing things when Venus will be born again in its own sign. This will be one beautiful 9 months after that, until it becomes invisible again. I think it's 9 months, something like that. Until it becomes invisible again. It will be very positive for relationship, but about that more next week. So Venus in its own sign, in her own kingdom, what does she do? She collaborates, she agrees, she makes, now it's going to be easier to make contracts, to reach out other people. You know, I've even noticed people that, you know, because we work on business communities, you know, I'm part, and people saying, what's happened in the last few months? It's so hard to reach new clients, wide audiences, because this is the air sign. The air sign connects people. And even like marketing campaigns or sales, this is air signs. Air signs are the merchants, the traders. So even trading and merchandise and business slows down when there are not planets in air. This is starting to change. And exchange with people, and communications with others, you know, and for business things will get better, as I said. So you'll be able to express what you think. Mercury is to communicate in a diplomatic way, Venus, in a way that does not hurt others, in the way that is agreeable, in the way that respects the opinion of another, in a way that looks for the mutual benefit to both sides. Venus in Libra wants it to be fair, wants both sides to receive mutual benefits. I really can't wait for that. And Saturn is turning direct. Karma is becoming easier on us. So let's start with the 12 signs, starting from Aries. And by the way, if you want to know your specific transits, by the way, guys, always know that you can check my birth chart transit calendar, which is 7 days. Every 7 days ahead of you are free. And nothing else will be as precise and correct in your life, no other horoscope in the world as your personal transits are, because no one else in the world has the same as your personal transits at the same time with you. So please, I think we're up to 40,000 people using it, and it's a freebie. And if you want more than a week, then you can buy something. All right, so let's get to Aries. All right, Aries, and so Saturn is turning direct in your 10th house. Yes, so complications, delays, extra responsibilities and duties, or problems with your career, or blockages in your career, or problems with authority figures or father figures or institutions are going to get resolved, are going to start changing direction, and things will get better. Some heavier burdens will be fulfilled, some responsibilities will be completed or eased on upon. And as I said, if there were some blockages there in regards to career, to authorities, to institutions, you'll see a positive shift for the good, for things to start moving forward. More on that, check out my September monthly videos. I have way more in depth about Saturn going direct in your 10th house. At the same time, the two active planets, Aries, Sun and Mars is the planet that's always very important for you because it rules you, continue to be in your 6th house, and they might be creating some inflammatory health conditions because they're both fiery planets, fiery pitta, inflammatory health conditions or acute health conditions or little even accidents and stuff, or maybe some pains and hurt somewhere in your body. I've been having that. I really hope they move out of there soon, but it's only so you can undertake some proactive action to fix some health problem if you're having this. So they continue to be there for a week, and Mars actually for till the end of the month. So you still have work to do there, but also on a good side, it also shows you that you still continue to have to be very proactive at work, to get a lot of things done at work, to fulfill a lot of responsibilities, to get done a lot of errands, which is the 6th house, to put order around you, to organize, to clean, to systemize things, also to research. The 6th house is good for perfecting your skills. And and also 6th house is our enemies. So you might be fighting and overcoming some enemy. Yes, they're provocative, they're Sun and Mars, but these two planets are the fighters. And when they're in the 6th house of enemies, you can conquer your enemies more. You can, I'm not saying go there and fight with people, but you can, people that are competitors or that are something, you can somehow have the upper hand because of those two planets. Then if you have any debt, it's also the 6th house. You can still have time to be proactive, to fix it, to do something good about it. All right, but we're having good news for you, Aries. Venus and Mercury from this week are moving into your 7th house. So you're going to see remarkable improvement in your interpersonal relationships with clients, with husband, with wife, with one-to-one other relationships. People start becoming more agreeable, kinder around you. You'd attract more attractive, more pleasant people. You'd be in the company of more youthful, Mercury is youthful, intelligent people that have interesting things to say to you, and Venus that are also agreeable, that are also diplomatic, that are attractive. You start being surrounded and attracting such kind of people around you. Plus, it can be, even for some of you, if your Aries rising, for example, or moon or sun might mean improvement of relationship or a new relationship coming into your life. Very soon, Venus will be born in your 7th house on the 26th of September, and a week before, it starts acting already. So Venus starts becoming strong already. The birth of Venus in your 7th house, active, it sprints your 7th house of relationship for the next 9 months till the next phase of Venus, till it becomes invisible again, which means there will be new beginnings, birth maybe of new business partnerships, new relationships, new collaborations for you. And you can start seeing the beginning of those from this week and next week already. Or new positive developments in the life of your husband or life partner or business partner, new collaborations as well. And you can reach more people now as well. You can connect with people more. You can, and such people can help you. Two helpful planets, benefics in the seventh house. Reach out to others, they'll be helpful. It will be a good deal, especially in the next 2 weeks. Make contacts, reach out, you'll get a good response. All right. And by the way, just to remind you, if you'd like to learn about vocation and money, Victor is doing on the 22nd a webinar of 6-7 hours. And at the same, it's 30% off till the 22nd. And Ksenia is doing a webinar on Vedic techniques for Western astrologers. That's my favorite topic. All right, if you are Taurus, Capricorn is starting to move direct in your ninth house. Good news. Whatever has been blocked for you for the last 4 or 5 months connected to education, some dissatisfaction or problems with teachers, with mentors, with father figures, or some blockages with foreign travel, or maybe too heavy responsibilities connected to traveling or to higher education or to learning. These are starting to be solved. These are starting to be to give you a break, to give a turn for the positive, to start moving ahead. Any blockages also with legalizing of something. Ninth house is to legalize, for example, to get documents to live in a foreign country. If there were some blockages, now you can see the unblocking of that, or the positive results. Or if you've been working very hard on some thesis or on some academic studies or on some higher knowledge, then you're going to start seeing the positive results of that come to you now. Or if you've been feeling a bit down and negative, because while Saturn is retrograde in the ninth house, sometimes people can feel more negative about the world, their worldview. They can be like questioning their belief systems, their teachers. They can be questioning about God. They can have a crisis of faith. So if you've been having, and it's not necessarily like some religious crisis, it's more like questioning what the purpose of life is, feeling a bit meaningless, and feeling a bit like disappointed with or disenchanted with the world or the universe or God or whatever, So this kind of like lack of faith and hope that could have happened. Now Saturn starts turning direct. I prophesize to you, if you're Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising, that if you've had such states of mind, they'll start lifting up gradually from next week. Sun and Mars, the two proactive planets, continue to be in your fifth house, which is connected to children. So maybe you're having busy activities with children or some creative projects. And leisurely activities. You can be quite active. This is fantastic time, continues to be, if you want to do some sport, for example, to enjoy it. Mars is very active, Sun is very active, fifth house is leisure time, so do it in a sport way. To go to parties, to have fun, and such like that, or to proactively date, to pursue. Mars pursue, the Sun pursues, masculine planets, to pursue dates, to pursue romantic experiences of some sort. To be active in holidays and stuff like that, or something creative, to do actively something creative and to perfect its details. But Venus and Mercury are moving into your sixth house, Taurus, two beautiful planets in the house of work. So you're going to notice improvement with your work condition, maybe better collaboration and communication with your colleagues or employees if you have such. You can find new good employees. Venus will be born the week after that in the sixth house. It's becoming visible after a few months of invisibility. So this is the birth of Venus. It starts becoming active a week before it becomes visible. So they can be the birth of new career opportunities for some of you, work opportunities, employment opportunities. If you're applying somewhere to be an employee, this can be the birth within the next 2 weeks of such an opportunity, a new work project of some sort as well. And this can be the birth of a new employee, so someone, and this will be good. whoever comes, like an employee or like for a work project, it's a good thing because it's the birth of Venus triggers it, and another benefic, Mercury, does. Also, when Venus goes into the into the sixth house of Mercury, you're gonna start feeling pleasure at working. You're gonna really enjoy it. That's what Venus does. It makes you love whatever house it passes to. It makes you feel like it's a place of pride almost for you. And especially if you have some work connected to beauty projects, connected to something artistic, connected to something as well, intellectual, writing, speaking, you're going to have a very good push and help from Mercury, the planet of communication, information. But also Mercury is business, organization, planning. So this can become a very good time for business planning or planning of some work activities as well. And you can vocalize now, because it's Mercury, some work plans as well, and try to put more order in them as well. All right. So there we go. What else do we have? But the most important for you, Taurus, is Venus, the planet that rules you. It's very important where it goes, and it's going into its own sign. So you're going to feel more easily to express yourself, easy to be who you are, and especially with Venus in Libra, you'll become more agreeable. You can find yourself more diplomatic with others, but definitely also focused on work, focused on career in the sixth house, on responsibility, but with joy and pleasure. And by the way, if you're interested to know what your work and professional career is, or to know how to see in the horoscope work and money, or profession and money, Victor is making a webinar on the 22nd of September focused exactly on that, plus an option with a 15 minutes reading with him for just $20 or $30. So join us. It's 30% off till the 22nd, and Ksenia has 30% off on her webinar, Vedic Techniques for Western Astrologers. This is my favorite topic because I use a lot of those. All right, if you're Gemini, Saturn is turning direct in your 8th house, Gemini. Oof. When Saturn is in the 8th house, especially retrograde, you burn a lot of karma. For the last few months, actually the year before that, while Saturn was retrograde as well, there were some very intense periods for Geminis. They were burning karma. Saturn is karma, 8th house is to excrete something. But the excreting, releasing of past karma is a painful thing. But whatever is, and often it's accompanied by endings, it's accompanied by painful experiences, by some kind of more dramatic reversals in life. But if something like that, and because 8th house is the house of liberation, it wants to liberate you from karma. All of the airs, water houses, or like that. So whatever you've lost, or whatever you've been, in your life that has been difficult till now, I want to tell you this. Don't feel negative about it. Think of it as you're burning karma and you're being released from that. So if you've had, and this starts changing, if you've had some indefinable feeling of negativity, of emotional heaviness, it's going to start turning. If you've had some kind of emotional depression, even almost, some kind of emotional dissatisfaction, often when Saturn transits in the 8th house and is retrograde, people feel dissatisfied, or even some kind of like going through purgatory and emotionally, like in a tough spot. And when Saturn starts turning direct, you would receive some relief from that. Also, if you've been having some financial blockages, especially with resources that are for you that have to come from another person, from another source, from clients, or from a partner, if your partner has been having financial restrictions, this will start getting resolved. If some money that's owed to you is blocked, it will start very likely getting resolved from next week. If you've been having some sexual blockages and intimacy blockages and dissatisfaction in your love life, you can start, because the 8th house is deep intimacy as well, you can start seeing turn in that direction for the better as well, and moving forward. If you've been having some blockages or delays and problems with taxes, with insurances and inheritances, again, turn around in that direction for the good. Also, we have the Sun and Mars still asking for you to be very active in regards to home matters, property, fix things, order, organize. Maybe possibly more fiery Pitta energy, because they're both fiery planets in your family homes. Maybe some arguments possible, some with family members, or some accident, or some kind of flaring up, but also makes you very initiative with anything to do with home, gardens, lands, property, family, and such things. So I advise you to use this energy again to get something done around the house, to move something, to kind of fix something around the house, or to be active with your family. But the good news is that two planets, Mercury and Venus, are moving into your fifth house of joy and pleasure. So now, from this week, you're going to have some fun as well. You're going to be able to let your hair down and enjoy. Fifth house is the things we love to do, the things we're passionate about, the things we enjoy, leisure time. So what it is for you, maybe because your fifth house is in Libra, it is to communicate and exchange with others on one-to-one basis. And Venus and Mercury will give you the opportunities to do that, to have fun by, bonding, casual conversations, or even romantic dating, because Venus is the planet of love, moving into a fifth house of romance. Mercury, it can be a very good time for some of you Geminis to go on a date. If you're already married, you'll notice improvement of your love life, feeling more loving towards your partner. Or if you're single, that can be a fantastic time actually to meet someone, to go on a few dates, and you'll notice that you're presenting yourself in a very nice way. You present yourself like very fun person. The ruler of your sign is Mercury, moving into the fifth house of fun, to be center of attention. You'd notice that because Mercury is all the time with Venus, that when you say things, you're not only witty, but you're complimentary, that you know how to listen to the partner. And if you go on a date, someone, you would attract now dates as well with someone who is also receptive to you, who has fun through communication, who is listening to you, who is collaborative, at least fun. It might not be the love of your life, but you'll enjoy yourself, unless you have very heavy personal transits, which you can check from your personal transit calendar, and no one else in the world will have them. But even with very difficult personal transits, this will uplift the mood a little bit. Also, you can find yourself enjoying way more of the favorite things you love. You can find yourself also self-expressing better. The fifth house, the house of self-expression, to be more artistic, more creative, more fun. Also, maybe if you have children, this can be Mercury and Venus both manifest a sign. Venus, it's in its own sign. This is a Vedic astrology technique. When a planet is in its own sign, and it activates it for positive manifestation. And when Mercury enters a sign, it activates it for positive manifestation. So we have double positive manifestation in regards to your fifth house of children. So something good can happen in the life of your children, something new can be born there, or even for some of you can bring a conception if you're interested in love and dating, especially because it's the fifth house of romance. Something new can be born when Venus is born within the next 2 weeks, and manifest in creative projects and having fun. You can have more enjoyment and fun, or you can just get more bright ideas. The fifth house is to express yourself by having new creative ideas. So you'll notice that your brain is more on fire, excitable, you're more like the fifth house is very original, very inventive, is the house of the sun. So you see these Vedic techniques, how beautifully double manifestation in your fifth house. I'm talking about Vedic techniques, Gemini, and I know you like to mix and match. Gemini is the sign that likes to mix stuff, and Ksenia, our beautiful astrologer who has studied with the same teachers as me, she's making a webinar on Vedic techniques in Western astrology, Vedic techniques for Western astrologers. I mix and match a lot. I use Vedic and Western. So if you're interested to know how as a tropical Western astrologer to use Vedic techniques in a very simple way, this is fantastic webinar, and it's 30% off till the 1st of October. And Victor is also making a webinar on the work and career, and there is an option that he can make you a 15 minutes reading on money, work, and career for just $30, which is part of the webinar. And it's 30% off now. It's on the 22nd. And he's the best astrologer for career that I know, because honestly, he looks at chart and sees the career of a person. All right, if you're Cancer, Cancer, don't I have good news for you? Saturn in your 7th house has been retrograde, and it's been in your 7th house for 2 years. And it's basically 2 years. There might have been blockages, difficulties, or just too many responsibilities with relationships, with partnerships, with um, some dissatisfaction there, things moving slowly, not seeing progress, or just the partner being too busy with responsibility or having a hard time. And especially while Saturn was retrograde for the last few months, maybe there was a testing of your love, of your relationships with clients, with business partners, with marriage partners, with committed partners, boyfriends, girlfriends. If they've been demanding, or if you've been dissatisfied with them, or you will notice gradual improvement of relationships from next week, because Saturn is starting, the testing planet, the planet of blockages, is starting to move forward. So it's almost like you've learned the lesson, you repeated too many times, the difficult things have dragged for you for a while, so now you can start moving forward, Cancers, in regards to relationships. So complicated, painful things in regards to relationship can start getting unblocked. Or if there's been some problematic contract or agreement that you have with someone that's full of duties and responsibilities, you can feel gradually more relief of that, the ability maybe even to extricate yourself of for the burden there to become easier. All right, for more on that, check out my monthly horoscopes. It's way more in depth there for the September videos. Cancer, also, you're going to continue to have the Sun and Mars next week in the 3rd house. Very busy time for communication, information. The flow of information is very fast. More people are calling you. Maybe you have to do written reports more, write many emails, talk on the phones more, some administrative duties, planning, organizing. This is all hectic and happening because these are masculine planets. They make you do things there. Also, maybe you've been, you might have been busy with a lot of business meetings. This is the 3rd house, with a lot of collaborations in a small group environment. It's a very business house, the 3rd house. So it's very good if you're being proactive in business marketing, organizing sales, but you're the one who should make the approach to others. You're the one who should pursue others, connect and contact others. You're the one who is initiating such things. You're not waiting for those things to happen to you. Also, maybe busy with travels. But also be careful that it does not damage communication devices, and that you're not too rushed with communicating with others, that you say things you regret after that, because Mars in the 3rd house and the Sun, two fiery planets, can make you be a little bit too impulsive in communications. Or also you can notice that people are in your environment, brothers, sisters, neighbors, teammates, workmates, playmates, friends, they can be a bit too rash. Sun and Mars, they can be maybe more dynamic. People that you can notice that they're doing a lot of things, and it's good if they're like that. But on the negative side, they can be more, challenging with their communications, and more, it is what it is. This is how it's gonna be, But it's otherwise very good. Mars and the Sun love being in the 3rd house. They give you more courage to initiate things. They give you, because the 3rd house is the house of courage. Self-started businesses as well, the 3rd house. They give you more a drive and ambition to use your skills and to learn new skills as well, to have breakthroughs with skills. Maybe you're required to use a lot of your skills still. But for any business activities, commercial activities, travel, communications, very good, media, marketing. But we're gonna have Venus and Mercury entering your 4th house. So these two beautiful planets enter your 4th house. So if you want to really have good times, because two good planets, you gotta maybe invite guests at home, because your 4th house is Libra, is a social house, and it rules the home, the property, and two happy planets enter there now. I see that a lot of you will have very good time in a home environment, in a more private environment, which is the 4th house, socializing with your loved one or with your partner. Libra is a partner, and having some pleasant conversations, some good company in your own home or in more private environment. And you might even feel very happy starting from next week to spend time with your home, to beautify it, to arrange things beautifully. This is Venus, to buy beautiful things for your home as well. Or and by the way, Cancers, they usually have great eye for beauty, because Libra means beauty, harmony about their home. because Libra is in their home, the fourth house. All Cancers have the fourth sign, the sign of home and family in Libra, and often that's why Cancers have beautiful home, not because they're Cancers only, and you will enter that phase where like, and you're gonna feel happy at home, and you're gonna, maybe some of you will connect, some of you can even, because both Venus and Mercury, according to ancient Vedic astrology, when a planet enters its own sign, and Venus, its own sign is Libra, it starts manifesting that sign positive. And when Mercury enters a sign, no matter which one, it also starts manifesting that sign in a positive way. So we have double manifestation for you, Cancer, in regards to home and property, starting from next week for a few weeks. So you're gonna, starting from this week that we're talking about, basically. So what you're gonna see, some of you might manifest a beautiful home. Some of you might manifest something, a good relocation. Some of you might manifest better relationships with family. Some of you might manifest more happiness in parenthood as a parent, some support and help in their parenting responsibility, something to make them feel pride. Some of you might manifest, what is it, like sorry, a vehicle is as well the fourth house, even a vehicle of some sort. So good things. And when you really want to feel happy, this is your loved ones for next week at least, they're a source of more joy and happiness. And talking about Vedic techniques that I often use, Ksenia will be teaching a webinar. It's a pre-recorded one where she explains Vedic techniques for Western astrologers. It's 30% off till the 1st of October. This is a fantastic webinar. She'll teach you exactly the techniques very often that they use, and many people ask me, how do you combine both systems? She teaches very simply, beautifully, so check it out. And Victor is also doing a webinar on the 22nd of September about houses, about career and money, and it's 30% off, and it has an option for a free reading about money, and for a reading with Victor, which is $30 only, together with the webinar on career and money. All right, so if you are Leo, what is happening for you, Leo? Capricorn is starting to move direct in your 6th house. Any chronic health issues will start improving now. And I'm Leo Moon, so this is active for me, and I've been having problems with my back, and I never have problems with my back. It's like the bones, Capricorn and Saturn, so it's kind of been painful, and I can't wait for Saturn to start moving direct. So if you've been having some pains, chronic illness, if they've gone worse, when Saturn starts moving direct, there will be resolution of some issues there with health. If you've been doing some new health, if you've been trying to incorporate in the past few months like a health habit, like stopping eating of some food, or like exercise routine or posture, whatever. Now when Saturn starts moving direct, you'll notice that it no longer requires effort, that it has become a very ingrained habit for you, and you're not doing it with willpower. Now you're doing it because it's a routine for you now. Also, if you've been having some complications or delays with your work, this will also start improving from next week. If there have been some blockages in regards to work, or some problematic environment with employees, or problematic environment with people at your work environment that are very critical, that complain, that they have a lot of problems and that's affecting you as well, and that they have to, or someone you've hired, for example, to do a job, a specialist, whatever, they have to redo something over and over and over while Saturn is retrograde, or you are dissatisfied with it. Well, now Saturn starts moving direct, and these problems are going to slowly resolve themselves, and those frustrations coming from work or work environment or employees, or problems with pets. If you've had some problems with pets and difficulties, they'll start resolving. On another point, the sun continues to be in your 2nd house, focus on resources and finances, but it's possible to have more expenses because now still Sun and Mars, two planets that are extrovert in the 2nd house of where we like to conserve things. So maybe you're spending a bit too more, maybe you're being a bit more extravagant with your purchases, with your money, a bit more spontaneous and rash. But also it continues to give you initiative for money sources, for different sources of money. It's good time to, do some changes there, because Sun and Mars, they initiate things with your resources as well. But the focus continues a lot to be on that, on the more practical side of life, and for you to be proactive there on resources, on finding new resources, or on kind of improving on the resources that you already have in some sort. And that might be supplies of some sort, that might be clothes, that might be possessions, assets, or money. All right, but we're going to have Venus and Mercury move into your third house. You're going to start becoming more social. Third house is a very social house, and Venus and Mercury love being there in this sign, and you're going to start having some very pleasant conversations, some very pleasant collaborations as well. Third house is associates, so you can have some very pleasant associates that are very helpful, that manifest well, and they can be the birth of some new friendships even, because Venus is being born the week after, so it's active a week before that already. The birth of new collaborations, the birth of new associates, the birth of new business ideas is the third house, and they're positive, they're good. If new business ideas come to you, go for them. If new business projects come for them, go for them. If new associates come for them, go for them, because these two benefic planets are triggering it. And the birth of Venus, which is a very beneficial, very auspicious astrological event, is also triggering it. If there is some new acquaintances that come to your life, they can be very pleasant, they can be even beneficial in some way, because Gemini also is the ruler of your 11th house of gains. Sorry, not Gemini, Mercury, that's moving into your third house of acquaintances, is the ruler of the 11th house of gains. And third house is also business, so you can meet some new acquaintances or connections that are gainful for you in some way. This is a very strong wealth yoga that is happening in your second house as well. But people that are in their own businesses, this is the third house, self-initiative businesses, they can see growth and starting new opportunities that are happening to develop. If you need to launch some marketing campaign, some business campaign, some sales campaign, a project of some sort, perfect time. Within the next 2 weeks, do it. You're so supported by the stars, with the birth of Venus in your third house of sales, of marketing, any kind of, if you have some important, for example, videos or media or announcements to do, important conversations that you want to present something, or reports, important presentations, go for it. It's gonna be very positive, and it can happen for you in a good way. Also trips, some very pleasant opportunities for good trips can appear, not only next week, the week after. Some destinations, short trips, 2-3 days that you really enjoy. And by the way, when Venus and Mercury are both in Libra, they activate Libra to second degree for positive. There are 3 activations that can happen, 3 levels. Level 1, 2, and 3. So we're up to level 2, which is really powerful. Most of the times the sign is not activated at all. So your third house is very activated for something good to happen with relatives, with neighbors, with siblings, with schoolmates, with friends. You can make new friends or connect with friends, have good social times as well. Or writing projects, speaking projects as well. All of this starts aligning itself. This is an ancient Vedic technique that I'm using for activation of signs. And if you're interested to learn about ancient Vedic techniques, Ksenia is doing 30% off on a new course that she's created, Vedic Techniques for Western Astrologers. It's only $40, by the way, and becomes $60 after the 1st of October. This is fascinating because she uses the same methods as I do, and she'll teach you the secrets that we both use from Vedic astrology that are tested, that work very well in modern times as well, and how to incorporate ancient Vedic knowledge into Western astrology. And Victor is also making a webinar, which is 30% off on career and money on the 22nd of September. It's 30% off. And there is an option that you can get a personal reading for 15 minutes with him on career and money as well, which is only $30 if you get the webinar. All right. If you're Virgo, you continue to be very active. The Sun and Mars continue to be in your sign. You are on fire in the last few weeks. A lot of new possibilities and new beginnings. Maybe a bit stressful. Maybe it was for some of you because Venus and Mercury were also there. But now they're coming out, and you continue to be very fiery, very initiative. So continue. Even though the moon is decreasing, already. You can continue with proactive initiation of new projects. I advise you strongly to be physical, to be active physically. You can notice more vitality and more vigor to get things done, to tackle difficult problems, to be assertive, which is Mars. This is very important month till the end of September for you to show your assertiveness, because Mars will not be in your sign again for 2.5 years after that. So to initiate new things now, very good. To show assertiveness, to get things going and start them. Two masculine planets. You might even feel a little bit too much in the eyes of others, that you're too pushy, that you're too kind of in your face, that you're a bit too critical, but also others can see you more vital, more energized, and you kind of make an impression. You still continue to make an impression of liveliness and of power and new creative ideas. Sun is very creative. It's the most creative planet. It created our solar system, obviously. When it's in your sign, you are so creative yourself, and even a bit dominating, you know. So you're in the spotlight. It's good for you. Continue to be, you know, and to initiate those things just a little bit. It might be easier for you to anger, to react, to become very verbally critical, because Mars is already attacking planet. Virgo is critical. It has very beautiful qualities as well, not just critical. But when Mars enters Virgo, people get irritated. And you've probably noticed Mars is in Virgo for everyone, that a lot of people are kind of quite critical currently, and they bite, you know, where it hurts, and they kind of complain about things. But on the positive side, as I said, this is such an initiative energy for you. But you're more susceptible to cuts, to burns, to such kind of inflammatory conditions as well, and fevers of some sort, because of these two fiery signs here. But the power is in you, the most powerful planet. Saturn is turning direct, Virgo, in your 5th house. So if there were some delays and complications and disappointments and tests in your love life, finally they start getting resolved, especially if there was such in the last 5-6 months. You'll see resolving of those problems. If there were some blockages in your romantic self-expression, in the expression of feelings, but also the 5th house is self-expression. If you felt like more blocked to express yourself, to shine as who you are, this is starting to move away. If your ego was hurt in some way in the last 5 months, because Saturn in the 5th house shows that Saturn wants to humble you. And I know Virgos are humble already, but Saturn also wants to remove all unnecessary ways of self-expression which are not truthful. So often it does that by hurting our ego and our self-confidence when it's retrograde in our 5th house. So we withdraw and we start analyzing, and what did they do wrong, and why am I? And you become very self-introspective on yourself when Saturn goes retrograde in the 5th house, and the 1st or the 9th, because these are the self houses. But you see what are the things that you do wrong, especially what are the things you do wrong in love. You've seen that. You've been very focused on that. What are the things that you do wrong to self-express, to have fun? What are the things, and to tame that, to tame if you've been overly indulgent when having fun, partying or drinking. Usually Saturn retrograde in the 5th house curtails that, cuts away all the extremes of how you're having fun. And now Saturn is going to start moving direct. So if you've been putting some limits and finding it hard, for example, I know a few Virgos that stopped drinking in the last few months while Saturn was retrograde there, and they found it a bit hard while it was still retrograde and a bit dull. And I told them, when Saturn starts moving direct in your 1st house, it's not going to require willpower anymore. It's not gonna, and they had a few relapses, and I say it's going to become easier to deal with that. So also, as I said, in love expression, in self-expression, if there was some very demanding responsibilities connected to children, or difficulties connected to children, or even distancing and problems, they'll start getting resolved slowly, or especially if your firstborn child, if it had, like, if there's some heavy responsibility with them or some problems, they'll start getting resolved. And also with creative projects, if you work very hard on some creative project, or if you felt blocked in some creative project or with new ideas, this will start getting solved and you'll be released from that. And last but not least, the planet that rules you, Mercury, is moving into your second house together with Venus, and you can start manifesting money. You can start manifesting materially, financially, much better now, because but when Venus and Mercury join together in the second house, uh, join together in the second house in Libra in specific. Libra is the sign of Venus. Venus manifests. According to ancient Gemini astrology, a planet transiting its sign manifests that house. So for you, it's money, and the Mercury transiting any sign manifests. So double manifestation for your resources and finances to gain something beautiful and valuable, to um, um, to find pleasure in history, in collecting. In collecting beautiful things, in collecting information as well as the second house, any treasures, any archives, to find pleasure in any if you have anything to do with voice, with singing, or anything to do with art and design. This can be very good time for you. For valuables, anything to do, if you're in a career of makeup, if you're in a career of hairdressers, if you're in a career that has to do with the appearance of the face, with the clothes, with the beauty, style, this is manifesting time for you. But any kind of careers, they should be able to manifest financially more, and also you should be able to enjoy more pleasant food in good company. More now when you enter restaurants, you probably somehow find the best quality Venus restaurants. You'd find the best, and you'd order the best dishes somehow. You know, you enjoy the five senses. And if you want to buy clothes, you're going to come across the most stylish, tasteful clothes now when Venus enters your second house. Or anything to do with beauty, with decoration, with material objects, you're going to find such that have high value, that are lasting value, and that are valuable for you in particular. And this method that I use for the strength of transit is an ancient Vedic method, which I combine Western and Vedic astrology, and that's why people say the horoscopes are very unique. If you want to learn Vedic astrologies for Western, Vedic astrology for Western astrologers, Vedic techniques, Ksenia has made a course on that. It's 30% off till the 1st of October. We've studied with the same teachers, so you'll receive the same information. It's fantastic. Check it out. And also Victor is making a webinar on career and money, which is 30% off till the 22nd of September. And Victor is, as you know, the most correct predictive astrologer that we've had on this website. At least this is what the testimonial said. I haven't had a negative testimonial about Victor. And maybe one out of 1,000 orders that he's had. And people are just wowed at his correctness, how he can predict careers and such things. So he would explain this method. All right. If you're Libra, you're gonna finally start feeling better. So many planets were in your 12th house till now. Maybe you felt a little bit confused. Maybe you felt a little bit unproductive. Maybe you felt a little bit lazy. Or maybe you felt a bit too emotional with so many planets in your emotional houses. Maybe you felt more introspective, introverted, looking within, thinking what it is you have to remove and to keep, thinking, analyzing the past. You know, these are the water areas, the water houses are the reflective ones, more focused on the past, on analyzing yourself. Well, enough of analyzing. Little by little, you're going to now start shining. From the beginning of this week, Venus, the planet that rules your Libra Sun, Moon, Rising, enters its own sign. This is fantastic. It's manifesting energy for you, Libra. When a planet enters its own sign, this sign starts manifesting. So you, with your own actions, are going to manifest great things. If it's your moon in Libra, you're going to manifest something beautiful of your home and your family, some very positive experiences, place of living. If it's your sun, you're going to manifest something very beautiful and good in regards to home. In regards to your career, with males, with your own initiatives, with your own goals. If it's the ascendant, something you can manifest something very good with your appearance, with your physical body as well, but your overall in your life. And actually, this double manifesting power, according to Gemini astrology, when a planet transits its own sign, and when Mercury is also there, this sign starts manifesting double for positive and good. And this Gemini astrology techniques, ancient Vedic techniques, Ksenia is, by the way, teaching a course on, she's prepared it on Vedic techniques for Western astrologers, which is going to be, it's 30% off till the 1st of October. So all those techniques that people say, why are you reading so different from other astrologers that use tropical zodiac? Because I use Vedic techniques with Western astrologers, so I mix them. And if you want to see how I do that, Ksenia, she studied together with me, with the same teachers. She's going to be doing a course, which is, I think, will really enhance the astrological understanding of many Western astrologers. And it's 30% off. It's only $40. All right, so Venus in your sign will make you, you're going to start feeling more attractive. You're going to start feeling more agreeable. You're going to start feeling like you can breathe again, like you can be yourself again. You're going to start feeling more diplomatic, which is natural for you, but others will notice you're becoming more attractive. Others will notice, wow. It's like when the ruler of the first house is in the first house, what happens is that a person, others notice them. They stand out. Their appearance stands out, their actions stand out. Even if you're not normally someone like that, for 2-3 weeks while Venus is in your sign, this will happen. And not only that, but Venus is being born in Libra. This is really great news for Libras for the next 9 months. It means the birth of love for the next 9 months. Maybe within the next 2 weeks, love will appear. Something very beautiful energy will appear. Some money opportunities will appear. Venus is also money, luxuries, pleasures. New opportunities in your life will appear, but we'll speak more about that next week. But I want to tell you that some fantastic times are ahead of you with very good manifestations, financially, materially, attractiveness like, love like, pleasurable experiences, and you're going to become more social again. Mercury is entering your house. You're going to become more talkative, more witty. People say, he's so handsome and funny and smells good, and says such interesting things. So you're going to notice that, and you're going to become more social again with this air coming in. Probably it was very hard for a lot of Libras in the last couple of months. There was no air planets, basically. So they can get overwhelmed a little bit when there is no air planets, because they need the fresh air. So now new expanses start opening in front of you. Things start moving and shifting again. Very good. Starting from next week, if you're starting any new business initiative, Mercury, any important communications, any important business transactions as well, you can become more active in many levels, but in a way that is not offensive to others. You continue to have this introspective side. You continue to be maybe more private and secretive, work behind the scenes or prepare or research something. You continue to be self-reflective. Maybe a bit hard to sleep with the Sun and Mars in the 12th house, because they're active planets in the 12th house of sleep. You can just feel restless. You can, like my husband is Libra rising, and he took initiative to sleep with the babies so I can rest. So he's having restless nights. He's very active at night. He wakes up 10 times for the babies while I'm resting, but he's Libra rising. So Sun and Mars in the 12th house of rest there. I'm very grateful to him. He's been kind of more surreptitious as well with his 12th house. I can't wait for Venus and Mercury to enter Libra, basically, for him to feel a bit more in the spotlight again, to feel more like recognized for himself, more like himself. And huge thing is happening in Libra. Saturn is starting to move direct in your 4th house. For the past 5 months almost, it's been retrograde in your 4th house. So if there were any complications with family, any heavy responsibilities with parenting, any overwhelming duties connected to properties, or things not shifting or being stuck connected to selling or buying of properties or fixing or building of something around the home or house or repairs, if there was some resentments in your family with you and family members, some problems in the life of your mother, some difficulties with family, extended family, or with finding place to live or property, heavy responsibilities with that, they will start getting resolved. Or even when Saturn is retrograding in the 4th house, it can indicate some emotional issues that you're feeling off emotionally, especially in regards to matters from the past, and that you're feeling like you're releasing, like you're emotionally stagnant, so to speak, like you're stuck emotionally. When Saturn starts moving direct from this week, you're going to feel emotional release. You're going to feel like you've released a lot of karmic feelings from the past and pain from the past. that have been blocking your emotional happiness. It's going to happen gradually over 2-3 weeks, but that's very good news, you know. And yes, and by the way, Victor is making a webinar on career and money, which is 30% off till the 22nd of September. If you're interested to participate, you'll learn basically the ABCs of how to define career for someone and what areas to look, and how to find someone's career. And he also offers 15-minute reading, personal reading with you on your resources and career for just $30 if you take the course. If you are Scorpio, what is happening? You continue to be very active when it comes to social activities, the 11th house, maybe very active pursuing socioeconomic goals, because Mars and Sun driven energies, 11 houses, groups, maybe you're being very active in certain groups of people, in being active with friends, or being active with large group, reaching larger audiences, or maybe you're very active pursuing another social economic goal, like a bonus, like you're or that you're making breakthroughs and working hard on achieving some dream or goals of yours, or something that you've been very busy with, some social project that involves larger groups of people, that benefits a bit more people, you know, or just more active with friends. This continues as a theme for you, pursuing your goals, making connections, especially with very kind of people that are very fiery, feisty, and to some extent there is a possibility of fighting with friends because they're being very opinionated, very dominating. Mars and Sun are both dominating planets. It continues as a theme, but you know, you can get a lot of things done when it comes to achieving goals and creating networks, connecting with people. And 11th house, a house of business, so maybe business projects that you're pushing through as well. You continue to do that and to be initiatives. But the big news is that Saturn is starting to move direct in your 3rd house. So in the last 4 months, Saturn was retrograde there, which means that if there were some complications that happen with your siblings, with relatives, for example, my little son is Scorpio, a rising and moon. So since Mars, Saturn went retrograde in the 3rd house, his sister, sibling, we can't keep them together. They're fighting too much. There's like a lot of jealousy, resentment. Saturn rules jealousy and resentment in astrology, in ancient astrology. So he's been feeling it a lot. So if you've been having problems with siblings, with relatives, with teammates, schoolmates, workmates, some problems there, you know. I had another Scorpio who told me, like, in the last few months, I felt like I'm not heard in my collective, you know, like in the office where they work, because the 3rd house is the office, your workmate. He said, like, I'm trying to say my opinion, but like they shut me down and I don't feel recognized and I don't feel appreciated, because 3rd house is a communication also. You're trying to say something, especially in a small group environment, in a little team that you're working with, and you're being criticized or disregarded. And he was like, I feel stupid, or I feel resentful. Again, if you've had any such problems, Saturn starts moving direct and you'll see resolution of that. You'll see things easing up there. You'll see a bit of improvement. Saturn still continues to be in the 3rd house, but it's not going to be as intense. Also, if you've been learning some new skills, or some skills that you have to do over and over and over, because Saturn is repetition, and 3rd house is to learn skills, whether it's like to use the internet, whether it's like to use a new software, or whether it's like to do marketing campaigns, or whether it's like to knit or to swim or to sing or to play an instrument. Well, now when Saturn starts moving direct, you'll notice that you no longer require so much effort. This new skill will start coming, like, by you've created a routine for it while Saturn was retrograde, and it will not require anymore so much willpower, and it will be so much easier to use those skills. Also, if you've been really burdened with extra duties concerning writing, speaking, or if there was some writing blockage for you, or some communication blockage for you of self-expressing what you think, this will again start getting resolved. If there was any problems with, what else is it? With travels and documents of any sort, again, this will start getting resolved. Or if you've had too many business responsibilities. Often when Saturn transits the third house, a person and goes retrograde, the person gets buried in administrative duties, in administrative responsibilities, writing reports, answering emails, and becomes a bit overwhelming. And when Saturn starts moving direct, this burden gets eased off a bit. All right. Or if you've had some problems with lungs or hands as well, this will start improving. And then last but not least, Venus and Mercury are moving into your 12th house, Scorpio. So you'll notice for this week that you're going to have more opportunities for sweet escapes. This can be 12th house, it's any escapes. It's through sleep. So if you have problems with your sleep, you're going to notice that your sleep improves at least next week. You have opportunity to sleep better, to find something to heal you to sleep better, to have better dreams as well. Or also other sweet escapes, that you have more time to be alone, and that actually you find a lot of joy rather than just be hectic. Yes, they are socially active. All the planets are here in the 11th house, like you have to deal with other people. And now it's like you're going to have time to relax and take it easy. You're going to have time to 12th house, even, play with yourself. It's kind of take it easy, read a book in bed. The 12th house, the bed and bed pleasures. Actually, when Venus enters the 12th, they say you can have better sex life or better sexual experiences, especially private such ones, and maybe even some sweet, more private affair that happens. But also you can feel that your Venus and Mercury enter there can be some private communication you're leading with someone behind the scenes, that they're like a private support or someone who gives you more joy that is not an officially kind of, maybe you do something behind the scenes in your private time, basically. But also it can indicate more surreptitious actions that are inclined towards you receiving more pleasure as well. Also, 12 houses to research. Mercury is the planet of studying as well, and Venus is the planet of loving something. So you're really going to enjoy researching something in depth, like a metaphysical topic, learning something like astrology, psychology, thinking about deep topics, examining your past lifetimes, so examining the motivations, trying to understand yourself in depth. And anything to study occult astrology is fantastic during that time, or to do any research, or just read and escape. You might just more enjoy watching more movies and alone, and read a book alone. But also 12 houses, faraway countries. This is a fantastic time. You can go on holiday somewhere to faraway place. It can activate it actually. It can happen that you manage to go to a place that is another country or something like that, or even correspond and communicate with someone from a faraway country. Also, any spiritual, mystical activities like meditation, like spas, you can have enjoyments more in some secluded places like spas, like relaxation places, yoga studios, retreats of some sort can happen as well, or just holiday. And studying, spiritual techniques or enjoying them somehow. And by the way, if you want to study a bit astrology while Mercury and Venus in your horoscope, Ksenia is doing a webinar on Western techniques, Vedic techniques for Western astrologers, which is what I use a lot. I use a lot of Vedic astrology with Western, Vedic techniques with Western astrology, and that's why my readings are very different and often in depth. And you can learn that. It's just $40, and then from the 1st of October, it's $60, so it's 30% off. And Victor is making a webinar on career and money, how to find your career and how to see how money will be in your horoscope. And he's the best predictive astrologer that I've met, based on the testimonials people write after their readings. And he will be giving also 15-minute reading for you, for your personal horoscope, your money and career, if you choose it only for $30 if you buy the webinar. So let's see. Then we have Sagittarius. Sagittarius, you continue to be very active in regards to your career. Sun and Mars continue to be in your 10th house, initiate projects, get things done, be very proactive there. But if you're your own boss, great. You're very initiative, you take the lead, you structure things better, you get things done, bam, 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 bam. You take executive decisions there, especially around the structure of your business. You're very visible, public people see you, they respect you. But if you're not your own boss, then maybe your boss is the Sun and Mars. Then your boss is maybe continuous or is, being like a bit over dominating, overpowering, and you might be in contact with people in power that are quite macho as well, with some machismo boss figure or institution figure, or if you have dealings with financial or any kind of institutions, basically government or whatever, you can notice that people there are being a bit arrogant or a bit overpowering. But there is also a good side that you yourself have this more drive and ambition to achieve in regards to career. Use that energy because it will not repeat again for many years. Sun and Mars will likely not be in your 10th house for many, many years ahead. So the two most initiative planets in your 10th house, big changes with career, big ability to improve on your career, maybe a lot of responsibilities because Mars is a sprint runner. So you have to do a lot of things, go, go, go. But now is the time to do it because you can get recognition for that. And you can even confront, you might have to confront very powerful authority figures. And, I guess you have to play up to their ego, but they can be, some strong personality can be a source of help of you as well. On another level, we have Saturn starting to move direct in your second house, Sagittarius. Oh, good news. So if you've been having some financial blockages or delays or restrictions or some damages on possessions and stuff over the last 5-6 months, or especially some issues with food, with problems regarding your face or mouth, which is again the second house, they start getting resolved. Or I have another friend who's Sagittarius and she has a shop connected to sailing, mystical kind of what's that called, like gemstones and dream catchers and stuff. And basically when Saturn went retrograde in the second house of resources, she's been having problems supplying those things. And a lot of things that were in storage, they got damaged as well. And so if there was something that got damaged in storage or as possession, again, or maybe it will start getting resolved. Those blockages will get resolved. Or another thing is maybe some of you have to save extra hard while Saturn was retrograde because you want to invest in something. And now you're going to start seeing the saving part will not feel so strenuous and difficult. It becomes giving results. You can see how well you managed, Another level is if you've been making some restrictions in regards to your diet, because the second house is what we put in your mouth. So if you've been denying yourself certain foods or whatever, if you have to eliminate a certain food, whether meat or dairy or whatever, and it was very hard, and maybe you had relapses while Saturn was retrograde, or it's just required a lot of willpower. Now when it starts moving direct, it will come way more natural. It will come just, you'd have implanted in your life lastingly. So it's not going to require so much effort. So it's going to feel like a routine now, like part of life, rather than something that's like, oh, it's so hard. And last but not least, Venus and Mercury are entering your 11th house. Fantastic. I think you're going to have a lot of good times now with friends in social environments. And you can also benefit, you see both the second and the 11th house of financial houses. So for example, the second house is your stores of reserve, your money in the bank as well, what you do with them. So if you had some extra expenses, or if you have some blockage of being able to take money from the bank, or whatever, this will get resolved. But the 11th house is the gains that you make. So now Venus and Mercury, when they enter Libra, they start double manifestation there. What does it mean? Venus is in her own sign, and ancient Vedic astrology says that when a planet enters its own sign and Mercury joins it there, this house manifests to double. So suddenly some of you can manifest double financial income or gain or increase, or a bonus of some sort, a reward. If you have your own business, financial increase through the business happening there, and reaching more audience, reaching larger amount of public, new clients as well. And by the way, if you're interested to learn Vedic techniques through Western astrology, Ksenia is doing this webinar. It's only $40 till the 1st of October and becomes $60 after that. But she teaches exactly those techniques that Western astrologers don't teach, but are very, very correct by testing them. And they are Vedic techniques that you can use in Western astrology. And they're the most relevant and they're the ones that work the best. So check it out. So also the 11th house is friendship. Venus will be born in your 11th house next week. You can manifest new friendships now or very good times with friends. But most importantly, someone that is beneficial for you. Someone who can help you fulfill some dream of yours, or something who can help you connect you with the right people, or can even be materially beneficial for you. You'll notice that. Plus, they can be the birth of a love that is connected to a friendship. All right. And maybe it can be fantastic to manifest some big social event. If you're planning it, organizing it, Mercury likes to organize and plan in the 11th house big social events, larger groups of people. And as I said, gains, business. Business is the 11th house. If you have business, so fantastic. You're taking executive decisions with the Sun and Mars. Maybe doing a lot of hard work there, doing business initiatives or whatever for your reputation because you're doing hard work. And then maybe because of that, you receive a bonus. You receive more audience. You receive more clients, more gains. So there you go. And by the way, since you're so focused, Sagittarius, on career with the Virgo and Mars still in your 10th house, Victor is making a webinar on career and money. And by the way, you're also focused on money because Saturn is turning direct in your 2nd house of money. So very relevant. That's probably for all of the signs. Sagittarius, this is the most relevant for you. That if you want to take the webinar with Victor on money and career, he's the astrologer who is the best at determining what your career will be. And it's only, it's 5 or 6 hours webinar, or 7, and you can receive for $30 extra private reading with Victor on career and money as well. And it's 30% off till the 22nd of September. All right, if you are Capricorn, great news for you. The planet that rules you is starting to move direct. So if you feel you've been a bit constipated in the last 5 months, or things have been going a bit slower for you, or they require extra effort, and you have to repeat something over and over and over, then you're going to notice that suddenly things start moving forward. Not suddenly. Saturn never does anything suddenly. Gradually from this week, you're going to feel a huge change in direction. There was a song, The Winds of Change, that's most relevant for you Capricorns. And Scorpios, the Scorpion song, I think it was. See how old I am from the start of the 19th. So this is so relevant for you because there are so many Capricorn rising sun and moon people wrote to me and said, when is this going to be over? I feel I can't handle anymore. It's on my shoulder, or psychologically or emotionally, I'm breaking down. It's so hard. It's like they sound like a woman that's been in labor for 24 hours and she can't anymore. She wants an epidural. Well, that's your epidural, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure the baby will pop out yet first yet. Saturn needs to come out of your sign for you to pop up the new baby. I'm talking figuratively again, in saying something powerful, new to be born, to see the results of it. You're still amidst the labor, but now you're going to get the epidural, the release from the pain. Oh, and how it's been hurting, or it's required a lot of efforts. And often, well, Saturn is retrograde in your sign, going backwards. You're kind of laying the foundations. You're still not seeing the results of that, and you're working extra hard. But if you know your goal and what you're working for, you know, this will not discourage you. And especially when you know now that things will become lighter for you. I really wish it for you, and I know it will happen. But there's still work, so you start moving forward, but you still have to continue working hard. And there was also some complications with your health if your ascendant is Capricorn, or moon or sun. It's also the health, lower energy, tiredness. You can notice improvements starting gradually from this week. or pessimism, negativity. You can start feeling a bit of those things releasing and unblocking, moving forward. If your sun is in Capricorn and Saturn's been retrograde there for the last few months, if there was some blockages with career or extra heavy duties and responsibilities, or delays with career, or very difficult authority figures in your life who are very critical, or problems with father figures or bosses, they will start getting resolved gradually again from this week. So many good news. If it's your moon, if there was any problems with your health or with women or with your mom, with your emotional happiness, with some karmic relationship, because the moon is about relating, bonding, again, it will start becoming easier. It's going to start, the karmic, when Saturn is retrograde, is 3 times more karmic, 3 times more effort. It's karmic already as it is. So it's going to start getting released. Good news. And if you've been working hard, preparing on something, retrograde periods, so to do something over to prepare now, you can start moving forward and seeing the results of that. Well, the Sun and Mars continue to be in your 9th house, so this can be a good time to be very initiative with projects, academic projects, with studying, with higher knowledge, with traveling. You can be very proactive in traveling, or 9th house is also learning something, higher wisdom, astrology, or whatever. So this is fantastic time to continue to open your mind, also to initiate maybe getting accepted into university, or to get a lot of things done in regards to responsibilities connected to teaching, connected to coaching, connected to advising, connected to foreign countries and travel, import, export, to higher knowledge. And if you want to learn some higher knowledge, Ksenia is learning ancient Vedic techniques for Western astrologers. They're adapted for the Western time psychologically, and they're the ones that really work, the ones that I use as well. Me and Ksenia studied with the same teachers. So if you want to learn that, it's only $40. I think it's a fantastic program, astrology program, to expand your knowledge, because that's what the Sun and Mars want from you now, to actively, proactively pursue something that will expand your knowledge. At the same time, Venus and Mercury are entering your 10th house. Good times for your career, guys. Now things become much easier and better when it comes to your career. You'll notice whiff of help. Maybe some charismatic female will help you as well, Venus in the 10th house. Or if you need to approach a person in authority, they'll respond to you very gently, very kindly. They'll help you. Also, the Venus will be born in your 10th house. It's starting from next week. She becomes fully visible the week after that, but it's active a week before that. There will be the birth of new career opportunities for you Capricorns. The birth of new possibilities to express, to shine in the public eye, to improve your reputation. Maybe the birth of new career, the birth of new career project, the birth of new career ideas, the birth of a new job, the birth of a better boss. Maybe a nicer, better boss comes, or maybe it's, the baby's crying. But definitely career things and matters, and reputation really improve for you and become great, become better. You're going to start feeling it. And talking about career and money, Victor is doing a webinar on Korean money on the 22nd of September. It's 30% off. And if you get this webinar, you can receive only for $30 a personal reading on Korean money with Victor. He's the best astrologer that he looks at the chart and he can tell you your career. I'm fascinated how he does it. So come and join us. All right. If you're Aquarius, yay, finally up to us. I'm Aquarius rising, but you can be Aquarius sun, moon. Sorry, it's the baby. I've been here for 2 hours and she's with her dad and getting bored. But Aquarius, what is happening? Saturn, the planet that rules us, the traditional ruler, is starting to move direct. So we're gonna feel that we're becoming more initiative, that we don't feel so slowed down, that we're becoming more able to express in the visible world, to express ourselves more forward, rather than having to do things from the past, redo. And Saturn was retrograde in your 12th house. That is very introspective period. For the last 4 or 5 months, a lot of us have been very introspective. A lot of us have been thinking about the past, or what needs to be removed. maybe trying and not succeeding, trying again and not succeeding. But Saturn in the 12th is about eliminating old patterns and removing old karma. But while Saturn was retrograde, it was very tough doing that. It felt like a painful process of cleansing. And it felt like you're making efforts to cleanse and to distance yourself from the past or remove it, but it's kind of stagnant. It's not really happening. But now Saturn starts moving direct in your first house, and you'll notice that suddenly you're not thinking about certain things from the past. Suddenly you're not attached anymore to things that have outlived their purpose in your life, people or addictions or any habits. You're going to be able to move away from those because you worked through them. You went through a little dark night of the soul a little bit when Saturn was retrograde in the 12th house, trying to basically, remove this thing and detach yourself from them, but having to do it over and over. Also, if there were some blockages connected to, usually in the 12th house, it can bring some health problems when Saturn was retrograde, especially because it rules your first house, the physical body. So if there was some blockages there, especially some kind of a illness that is more prolonged or more, how would I say, it's that can put you a little bit, kind of make you useless a little bit in bed. I believe that now when Saturn starts moving direct, this thing will unblock itself, will start improving that kind of illness or health issue. Also, if you are having blockages with sleep, problems with sleep, you can feel gradually that this is improving. Those blockages are disappearing. And a lot of you have been working through a lot of your past karma in your sleep. And you've been dreaming a lot about things from the past, like you're graduating school again and you're not ready, or something that was hard time in your life. You've been this year and even past year, you've been dreaming about it a lot. And you're like, why is that? Is this person coming to my life again or what? Or is this difficult thing again? Why am I dreaming again like I'm in high school, whatever? No, because you're burning the karma. 12 houses, the past karma, Saturn as well, 12 houses in your sleep. So you're burning the karma of that in your sleep rather than in the material world. So it's great, but oftentimes difficult things happen when Saturn is retrograde in the 12th house, like payoff of karma. And when it starts moving direct, this eases off. If there are some blockages with foreign countries or faraway places as well, or relocation to such places, or very heavy responsibilities connected to foreign countries of some sort, or very heavy responsibilities connected to taking care of others, or taking care of, like, giving heavy responsibilities connected to retreats, connected to work in hospitals, connected to work in on islands, connected to work in prisons. These will start releasing themselves. But often when Saturn is retrograde in the 12th house, a person feels in a self-imposed prison of some sort, psychologically, emotionally. Sometimes it can be actual imprisonment of some sort. And that gets resolved when Saturn starts moving forward. Also, if there were some blockages or problems with expenses and delay, because the 12th house is like, especially the kind of expenses that you had to make, and they might have felt a little bit burdensome. Well, Saturn starting to move direct hopefully will resolve it. And also, often when Saturn is retrograde in the 12th house, we pay off to other people. So we have to do things for others without receiving back. And we can feel like that's not fair. Why is that happening? But you're paying off a karmic debt when Saturn is in the 12th. And you're finishing it, so you can start a new cycle on the clean slate. So don't worry, if you're going through that, some kind of a burden or some kind of a karmic debt will be paid off by the time Saturn starts moving direct. All right, good news, huh? And Virgo, Sun and Mars continue to be in your 8th house, making you still quite introspective, but also ruthlessly targeting and attacking subconscious patterns again, traumas from the past, your own shadow side, your own challenging and researching your own psychological issues and trying to understand and analyze them, being very analytical, very kind of introspective in a sense. But also it can mean that you're very proactive when it comes to matters of taxes, of insurances, of inheritances, matters connected to other people's resources and money. I've been having all those planets, Saturn, Mars, and Venus and Mercury, but now there'll be just Saturn and Mars in the 8th house for the last 2 weeks or something, 3. And I've been very actively trying to help the people that I work with, other people, to promote their work. So if you're working with others, that's the resources that you can make through them or together as well. And because of that, I'll promote you the course of Ksenia. And because eighth house is the house of the occult. The occult is about astrology, mystery, psychology, understanding yourself, learning occult or forbidden or taboo, lore and knowledge. That's the house of astrology. So fantastic time to continue to proactively study astrology, research it, to probe into it. Mars likes to probe into it. And Ksenia is making a webinar on Vedic techniques for Western astrologers, which is only $40 till the 1st of October. And then it's $60. And this webinar, you can receive it immediately because it's been recorded already. So she would explain the methods that I also use. I use Western astrology with many Vedic techniques, so you can see how it works. And you can learn them for yourself to add depth. Well, the eighth house wants depth and better predictive ability to your astrology knowledge. Also, eighth house is to deal with insurances, inheritances, taxes. I said that. Secrets of some sort. All right. And then we have great news that Venus and Mercury are going into your ninth house. Woof, coming out of the dark zone of self. Depth and reflection. Oh, by the way, eighth house is healers. I have an amazing psychological healing. I was working with a shaman. It works shamans and energy healers, releasing of trauma. And he discovered inside of me dark entities. Serious. In caves there. And he told me what they come from. And that's exactly where they come from. He told me, the entities told them when they went there, when I experienced that trauma in my life, when I went through this addiction or whatever. So they're entities and they keep the pain because they like living in darkness. So he released them, he destroyed their caves, and I've been feeling so much lighter. It's crazy. I'm starting to feel more and more each day. And my obsessive compulsive desires, which is the eighth house, I had a breakthrough with them because this is what the planets in the eighth house that you've been having a stellium, they want to break through in trauma or emotional release. Eighth house is liberation house, like the 12th, to release you from emotional burden. So you can move freely ahead. So hopefully some of you had the same psychological breakthroughs, healing breakthroughs with this eighth house stellium. But now Venus, and they continue to be there, Mars and Sun. And Venus and Mercury go into the ninth house, we're going to start feeling more optimistic. After a bit more intense time of Venus and Mercury in the eighth, now we come like, whew, I love the universe again. Life feels good and fair. Life feels fair, Libra. Life will take care of me. Start looking more optimistic, more positive. You're going to have a lot of fun time enjoying higher knowledge, learning higher knowledge. Again, this is another house of astrology, the ninth house of higher knowledge. It can be very good time for you to start taking some crash courses, webinars, seminars, so get enrolled at a university course, any kind of such where you learn new knowledge, you expand your opportunities. There will be the birth of new interest in you as well for higher knowledge, the birth of new opportunity as well, because Venus is getting born there. There will be the possibility to travel, opportunities to travel to foreign countries or places, to connect with foreigners, to connect with erudite and intelligent people. Very pleasant if you're going to start having more social interactions, because the air sign is Libra, and they'll be on very intelligent topics with very pleasant people. Ninth house is intelligence, higher knowledge, and such people that you collaborate or communicate with can bring some opportunities to you, because it's in the ninth house of opportunity. They can expand new horizons for you. They can also inspire others and yourself, more travel, as I said, learning opportunities, meet some teaching opportunities, some fantastic, anyone who is in teaching careers, coaching careers, advising careers, they're going to start having fantastic results now, and ideas as well, and opportunities in that area. And if you want to learn something else, especially Venus, wherever Venus goes, you enjoy doing that. You're going to enjoy learning new things. You're going to enjoy mind expanding activities of any kind. And then Victor is doing a webinar on career and money. You can join him. It's till the 22nd of September. It's live and it's 30% off. And you can get the reading on your money and career for just $30 if you get the course. All right. So Pisces. last but not least, let's see what's happening for you. Saturn is turning direct in your 11th house. So if there was some blockages or delays in regards to your gains, material gains is the 11th house, like a bonus, salary, maybe you had to work extra hard, maybe you're putting some efforts in the last few months, 4 or 5 months, to increase your gains. So you took on more responsibilities and duties, you took on more socially responsible roles. Then now when Saturn starts moving forward, you'll be able to start seeing the results of those extra efforts, maybe to become more gainful materially, to become socially recognized. But till now was the hard work. Now will start being the results. Also, if there was some problems with friends, very difficult circumstances in the life of an older sibling or a friend, or some problems with groups and membership organizations, some delays or resentments or whatever, then you're going to start seeing these problems getting resolved. 11th house is also house of business. Very often times when Saturn is retrograde in the 11th house, people work very hard on following some business goals of theirs, on trying to think of ways and structures and strategies to expand their influence to larger groups of people. Well, but while Saturn is retrograde, this is kind of blocked, or you're doing the laying the foundations, the hard work. When Saturn starts moving forward, you're going to start seeing the results of those basically efforts in regards to groups of people, organizations, in regards to expanding your influence to larger audiences, for example. The 11th house is also the house, we said, the friends, groups of working on business, maybe. Yeah, so often also there's like more isolation from friendships. So only friendships that are focused around work and duties and responsibilities. Again, Saturn will continue to be in your 11th house, but it will start moving forward. So there will be some movement ahead. Or especially if you had some acquaintances that are connected to work, that are connected to responsibilities, they can now, you can start seeing results of those acquaintances. They can be more productive in your life somehow. Or if you've been putting effort somehow, working extra hard on goals of yourself and dreams, or working on some projects of organizing big groups or big events, and you have to do things over and over, and there were blockages. When Saturn starts moving direct, this will be resolved, or you start seeing the results of that. And as I said, gains again is the key word. On another level, the Sun and Mars continue to be in your 7th house. You're very active with others. Actually, other people are very active, and they trigger you into action as well. You see, you might encounter quite a few more Mars and Sun people, which are kind of more macho, more masculine, more driven. They might be women as well, but they might be ball busters, or they might be such that are very motivated. And because they're motivated, they're excited, they're full of power, this motivates you also to get active. But others are the trigger for you. Also, your partner might be a little bit more, there might be some new beginnings during their life. They might be very active. They might be a bit irritable as well, or dominating. It might be a business partner, or personal partner, or clients. Your clients can be more male clients currently you can have. You can have some proactive campaign to reach out to collaborate with others, but you need to, or others can be proactive to collaborate with you. But in order for you to have good results, you continue to need to collaborate with others, to do things together rather than to try to do everything alone, to use the help of another, or to get motivated through another person. And if people feel like they're stepping on your nerves, because Mars and the Sun are fiery planets, they can be aggravating, they can be irritating for you. Remember that they're just there to motivate you, and don't overreact, but there'll be possibilities for that, that others are just and even a bit quite critical, because it's the Virgo energy. And that, but there is that reason, And also Venus and Mercury are moving into your 8th house. It's another house of other people. So it continues that you have to rely on the support of others. Actually, the two beautiful planets, Venus and Mercury, when they move into the 8th house, you can receive support from another, especially financial, moral, psychological. So now for you will be valid the same ask, and you will receive. Ask for support, for some resources, for help with certain skills, or whatever it is you receive. Or even you can ask a bank for a loan. you will receive that. Also, you can notice an increased communication with others on a very deep topics, because the eighth house is very intimacy connected, very deep occult house, and very sensual and intimacy. And Libra and Venus and Mercury are very communicative planets. They're very social. So you can notice that you are able on a personal level to connect on much deeper topics with others, to communicate with them, that your relationship can deepen through some sharing some secrets as well. And you can notice improvement in your sexual life as well, intimacy life, improvement of the deep connection you can have with someone, which results in a deeper sexual connection, more like in a tantric way. So also some private secret communications can be happening, Venus with Mercury in the eighth house, that feels supportive to you in some way. But also eighth house is the house of resources from others. You can, or we talked about that, insurances, inheritances, as well. You can have the possibility for such opportunities or income that comes to you from others, that is being born over the next 2 weeks somehow, opportunities coming through others. So even some taxes that can be improved, and income through less taxes, for example. And also you develop very strong interest towards metaphysical topics like astrology, learning. The eighth house is the house of secret psychology, astrology, understanding the depth of yourself, very reflective house of deep research. Fantastic time to study something in depth, to research, and you can receive support. But if you want to learn a bit astrology with us, Ksenia has created a webinar which is 30% off, only $40, Western Vedic techniques for Western astrologers, and it's 30% off till the 1st of October. And Victor is making a webinar on career and money, which is on the 22nd of September live. And plus you can get 30 minutes for $30 only, a reading on your career and money if you buy the webinar as well. So we've prepared for you to indulge your Venus in the eighth house. Venus in the eighth house wants to enjoy, when it transits there, the occult, the mystical, the understanding oneself in depth, secret affairs as well, and receiving gifts from others. So you have a better opportunity to receive that in the coming weeks. Thank you so much, all of you. Thank you for joining me again. Can't wait to see you next week. I'm preparing some great things for you, astrology videos where I teach you, and I'm preparing the 2020 videos for you. Each video is an hour and a half. I'm up to Cancer now, so within 20 days I'll have the 2020 videos ready. They're my best work so far, and I'm going to offer them at super affordable price so everyone can get one. So yeah, it will take me another 30 days to finish them possibly. So thank you. I love you. Whew, breathe easier. We're having more planets in air from this week. Bye-bye.